Hey, world. So running a little bit late tonight. The kids were a little nuts. And then I ended up on a very interesting call that I did not think I would make, and it was unbelievable. Stephen Desade is amazing. He's unbelievable. If you don't know him, find him. Uh, Again, Harwood Lang introduced me, and it's been life changing, beyond belief. I just put contact fluid in, my eyes are drying out. Um, Today's been a day. Like, I started out the day off and grumpy and miserable. And of course, Annie kicked me in the butt and got me going the right direction. And then I was speaking to my spiritual coach, guide, friend, whatever you want to call her, Andrea. She was amazing. Uh, I look forward to it every Friday morning. It really just sets me in the right place going forward. Um, it really, Today was a very crazy day. Like, there's just so much going on every day right now. And, being an empath with the way the world is today, a true empath and feeling everything, it's so overwhelming. And then with energies fluctuating, things moving up and down, everything going all over the place, um, you know, you really need to you really need to look, right? And you really need to understand yourself better than ever. Um, I think the way that this world is headed right now, and with all the critical mass and all this craziness, right? There's just so much chaos. And again, everybody looks for that negative attention. We've got to thrive on the positives. We've got to really look for the positives, and we've got to want to live in the positives. And I think there's a big thing to be said for those that do, because it's not as easy as it used to be. And living in gratitude and finding ways to evolve past the negatives and look past circumstances and situations that are beyond your control is a very tedious process, and it's a daily routine, and sometimes multiple times a day, right? Like, I'm very focused on staying centered right now. I've pulled back on social media tremendously, especially LinkedIn, which has been my lifeblood for years. um, I'm barely on it at all right now because I need to stay uh, you know um, I have to stay centered with everything that's going on in my life right now. It's There's just so much going on with the courts, everything else that's going on, that my focus and energy have to be, right there. And I just, it's just got to be that way. So keeping my core people and people that I work with daily, and people that are there for me, and keeping them close, right? And they're me, I'm leaning on them, and we're building this group of people that can just rely on each other and really create this bonding experience, right? As this world is just evolving and there's so many changes, and you really need to ground yourself into positivity and be the people that are like-minded, that can elevate your presence, your essence, your energy, your frequency, whatever you want to call it, right? And there's so much of it out there today, and there's so many people that uh, back. I don't know what was very strange. Screen just started doing this. Um, but okay, so there's 7 billion people on the planet, right? And if there's enormous awakening going on globally, then one person's not going to reach 7 billion. 1 million is not going to reach 7 billion. 100 million might reach 7 billion. But it's the relatability, right? And when you're at different frequency levels and different energy levels, and you're constantly trying to evolve, then you need to find people that can help lift you up and be there with you and go through these processes with you, because it's a very tedious, painful process. It's letting go of everything that you've been indoctrined into, and that the world has basically trained us and society has taught us to believe in. It's it's really like the Matrix in a lot of ways, in some capacity. because we're taught these certain things that, you have to be this memorization learner. That doesn't exist anymore. There's a very small percentage of people that can memorize and learn and then absorb the information and be career students or professors or teachers or whatever it is, right? Whatever career they can go into from that. The reality is there's so many different types of learning, whether it's hands-on, whether it's audiologically like I am, and the systems aren't created for that. So it's the ones that stick out, and it's the ones that used to be considered outcasts, like myself, of the systems that need to step up and help elevate others and come across in different ways. Um, it's one of the reasons I'm so vocal about sharing my story and so vocal about sharing what I've been through and the fact that I hide zero facts about my life. I have nothing to hide because the reality is I'm not embarrassed about anything I've done. And I've done lots of stupid crap. Um, but I'm empowered by that. I'm empowered by the fact that I have nothing to hide. I'm empowered by the fact that I have court Wednesday and I'm fighting for the well-being and the future of my children. And I can walk into that courtroom with nothing to hide. There is no skeletons. There is nothing that I won't talk about live on air that they can bring up that can put me in a situation. Are there things that can boggle me? Are there things that can rattle me? Yes. But that's another reason that I'm so focused on staying centered these days and that I'm really pulling back from every type of social media because I don't want to exert energy in spaces that take away from my focus. And Stephen DeSade said it best, right? Like my intent, I have a purpose-driven intent or a purpose or intentful purpose or whatever, however he worded it, right? He's magical in the way he does it. Um, my intent is what's best for my children. My purpose is that I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that happens for them. And I am pulling back from everything to make sure that that happens. I am pulling whatever resources I can. I am still here after 7.5 months of being 1,200 miles away from any person I knew before I came here. Um, and doing it by myself and handling kids 24/7 and trying to work and trying to make money and trying to build businesses and trying to help others and going through a transformation, spiritual, physical, mental, in every way, emotional, every way possible. I do emotional group trauma releases or whatever you want to call it every Thursday, right? And it's a lot, but I'm committed to changing. I'm committed to evolving because the reality is, as I'm evolving, my kids are evolving. My kids are growing. My kids see my change and they want to change. And by sharing my story, maybe it gives somebody else the courage to change. Maybe it gives somebody else the power to overcome and change. And it's not perfect. And I don't do anything perfect. I do most things the hard way. And I'm okay with that too. It's not about being perfect. It's about doing what's best for you, choosing you, and making a choice for you. And then by doing that, it ripple effects through everyone that you touch and everyone you're involved with. I mean, the people in my circle and in my life that I impact on a daily basis is so precious to me and so valuable to me. And then one person so specifically, obviously, that just means more to me than anything outside of my children. Um, what that person brings to my life is, and what I bring to that person's life is so magical. Like I can't even like put it into words because I've never experienced a bond like this ever. And I mean, who knows, right? Like nobody knows what's going to happen, where it's going to go, if it doesn't go, if it does go. But whatever it is, the bond will never be broken. This person's in my life permanently, and it's the most magical experience I've ever had. And because of the work I'm doing, and because of the work that that person's doing, we're both allowing it. And it's new. It's new for both of us. And it's just an amazing process to see. But I'd never be at this point if I didn't do the work. I'd never be at this point if I wasn't very open about what I do and how I do it. If I wasn't willing to put myself out there. And I'm not saying it's easy to do, and I'm not saying it's not scary to do. But what it really is it's it's empowering by letting go of anybody else's opinions of you and only caring about your opinion of you and being able to value yourself enough that you know you're worth it and willing to go to that level to prove to yourself that you're worth it. Nothing can stop you. Nothing can hold you back. My intentions are as pure as they come. I allowed myself to be held back for 9 years during my marriage that was not good for either of us and not good for my children. But I'm never doing that again because I learned and I know my value today. And have no fear walking into Wednesday. Do I get irrational? Do I get rattled? Do I have moments? Yes. But I also have a circle around me that step up, bounce me back, and put me in the right place again. And without that circle, I'd be, you know, I shouldn't say without that circle, but I created that circle because I allowed myself to, because I gave myself permission to create these bonds, intimate relationships on all different types of ships levels. And hey, Rhonda, you need to catch the beginning. You'll really appreciate this. Um, it's all good being late. I was a little late today too. And then it's zoned out for a little bit. Creating those bonds with people, those intimate bonds, it, I never understood intimacy, right? And I've talked about this before. And I never understood any type of ship, any type of relationship. I always thought I did, but I never did until now. And I know that it's still evolving, and I know that I'm still changing in how I see it. Um, and yes, there's still one person that means more than anything to me. But at the same time, I also that's awesome. At the same time, there's also something to be said for that, right? There's also something to be said for empowering yourself, for taking pride in yourself, for deciding that you're worth it, right? And let's go back to where I started being indoctrinated into this world, right? And the education and religions and everything else. And I have nothing wrong with any of them. I respect all of them tremendously, all the religions. I respect education tremendously. I just think that especially education has to change, and it needs to change as soon as possible, um, to make the future generations more better well equipped or more equipped to flourish and elevate humanity. But when it comes to religions, they train us to believe certain things, and it's beaten into us and beat over our head. And I really feel like humans over time who have controlled religions have distorted and twisted it to control masses. And it's not that I don't believe in it. I do have belief principles that I fall back on. I do believe that, you treat others the way that you want to be treated, though that I have morals and ethics and really, a concrete foundation within that. But I can't I can't buy into the dogma. I can't buy into the tradition side. And it's not that I don't respect it. I just can't buy into it. I've seen too much. I believe too much. I have faith in too much. And what my life has put me through has allowed me, fortunately, to see things differently than others. It's allowed me to see firsthand things that most others never would. And I couldn't, I can't allow myself ever to go back to believing in something that was human created. Because if I believe in a God, if I believe in Jesus, if I believe in Allah, if I believe in whatever it is, right? You know, then how can I take a man's word or human's word that thousands of years ago, this is exactly what happened when 99.999% of the humanity didn't read. So when I think about these things and I have these conversations all day long with different people. And when I really think about it, it it really disturbs me because it scares people into doubting themselves. It scares people into not believing their own intuitive instincts. It scares people into being not wanting to be different and having to be a sheep and having to follow others. And I don't understand where this fear has always been based. I don't understand why everything's gone back to fear. It's time to let go of the fear. It's time to embrace ourselves. It's time to be our best selves. And the only way we can be our best selves is if we truly look within, have faith, have belief, and have intuition and trust ourselves. And I tell this to the people I even talk to regularly, and I even guide spiritually and whatever else I do. Follow your intuition. If something I say doesn't resonate with you, if something I say doesn't match what you believe or what you believe to be true, then just find your own way. I'm here to help. I'm here to guide to the best of my ability. I'm a human. What do I know? It's my own experiences. Never value anyone else over yourself. And I understand, right? Through a growth process, through a transformation process, you're gonna find people in your life that value you more than you do, right? And I'm one of those people. 6 months ago, I had no self-worth. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have faith in myself. I was terrified. I was in a horrible depression. But you know what? This one person showed me, taught me, and just created this magic within me. And this person became my lighthouse. This person found me in my darkest days. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to thank her. I hope I can one day. I really do. And I help her as much as she helps me. And who knows, right? Like, me and it's funny, right? Like, me and Kelly have known each other for years, the one that was live with me a few nights ago. And we helped each other through some interesting periods. And we helped each other evolve. Um, Me and Annie are obviously very close. We help each other on many levels, and like we're really close friends. And I guess more. I don't. I whatever. But we're super close, and I care about her so much, and her kids and family, right? And she cares about mine. But I would have never been open to this. Like if it wasn't for all these little impacts and all these little changes, and if I didn't have the experiences that I have, right? It's funny that the impact people have on you when you allow it. And Kelly's one of those people. Annie's definitely one of those people. Even Rhonda's one of those people, right? Because as I talk to Rhonda and as I help her, she's helping me in return, right? And it's great, right? There's this circle that we have and these people in my life, and we have people in all of our lives, and we're creating these bonds, and it's just enormous. It can help us so much. And I'm really grateful for everybody today. I mean, I'm really grateful for Annie because she's just been my rock these last few days when it's been very rough. And before in my life, I never allowed anybody to be that for me because it scared me. I didn't want to trust anyone that much. I didn't want to rely on anyone that much because I was scared to get let down. She's really stepped up to the plate, just been amazing in every way. So, Miss Annie Lieb, thank you very much for being everything you are, and I appreciate you. And I think right now I'm living with Annie, dude, so she'd be proud. Everybody have an amazing night. I love you all. If you ever need anything, please reach out, and I am here. Thank you.